Most people are missing this kind of easy arithmetic math problem, and we are going to try to solve this one. More than half of people would not get this basic math question right, and that is okay, because it is simply because of not understanding a really simple math rule. The rule of doing expressions like this, operations like division, multiplication, addition, and subtraction. So in today's video, we are going to see why most people get it wrong, and we are going to eliminate that. And after this video, you would not get any of these questions wrong ever again. So pay attention till the end. So what most people do in this kind of problem is they see this, and honestly, they go from left to right to solve it, and they get the wrong answer. So what they do is they start operating from -34 plus 12, which is -22. So -22 divided by -3 times 5. They would end up with this equation. And what they do again is they just divide -22 by -3. So the negative cancels out the negative, and 22 divided by 3 is equal to 7.33. And they multiply that by 5, and they get the answer 36. But is this right? Well, let's solve this the correct way, because this is not the correct way to solve this. This just breaks the law of the order of operations, and I will explain to you what that means. Actually, the way most people solve this kind of problem is incorrect and does not satisfy the correct order of operations. So actually, the order of operations, the rule itself, states that there is a priority to the operations, the arithmetic. So we have 4 basic arithmetics. We have division, multiplication, addition, and subtraction. So these are the 4 basic arithmetics that we are going to use in math. But also, we have powers, right? So powers are numbers that are written on top of other numbers, like 2 squared, or 2 raised to the power of 4, or 2 cubed, and so on. So we have these kinds of exponents, or powers. We can use the term exponent and power interchangeably. They mean the same thing, right? So we have this, and the other is parentheses. So the order of operations tells us which operation to do first, which to do second, which to do third, and which to do last. So the rule itself states that there are 4 priorities we need to follow, right? So these are priorities, meaning we have to do them in order. The first priority is parentheses, so we have to solve all parentheses before we move to the next operation. So parentheses is the first priority, and we have to prioritize them. And the second priority is actually exponents. Exponents, like I showed you, are numbers that are written on top of another number, like 2 to the power of 4, and so on. So for example, 2 to the power of 5 means 2 is multiplied by itself 5 times, and 2 to the power of 5 is actually 32. So this is the second priority. And the third priority is multiplication and division. So these are the third priority. And the fourth priority is addition and subtraction. So these are the priorities, and we have to solve in this order. First, we have to solve all parentheses. Then we have to solve all exponents. Then and only then we move to multiplication and division. And once we solve all multiplication and division, we move to addition and subtraction. So this rule is actually the basic and the final code of math. You have to follow this rule in order to solve different math expressions correctly. So here is the order. First, parentheses, then exponents, then multiplication and division, and finally, addition and subtraction. We can remember this rule by the acronym PEMDAS. So what does PEMDAS mean? I will explain to you in a minute, but you can just see this. It says order of operations. The order of operations tells you the sequence to follow when you are performing operations in mathematical expressions. So like we see in our expression, we have to follow a specific order to solve the operations correctly. So PEMDAS is actually an acronym. Yes, and it is the abbreviation of each operation we need to follow when we come to the order of operations. So P stands for parenthesis. As you can see here, P stands for parenthesis, and E stands for exponent. And here we have their priorities. The first priority is parenthesis, and the second priority is exponent. And the third priority is multiplication and division. So for multiplication and division, we are going to solve whichever comes first from left to right. So if multiplication comes before division, we have to solve the multiplication first, and vice versa. So that is what we are going to do. And they are both on the third priority when we come to the order of operations. And at last, the last priority is addition and subtraction. So that is what we are going to solve last. So this is actually the order we must follow to get the correct answer.
So I am going to take you back to our original problem. So it says -34 plus 12 divided by, parentheses, -3, close parentheses, times 5. So what we are going to do is look at the parentheses first. Now here, the parentheses only contains -3 all by itself. There is nothing to solve inside it. It is just telling us this is a negative number. So we cannot remove the parentheses just yet, but we know that -3 is simply -3. So the equation becomes -34 plus 12 divided by -3 times 5. So this is going to be the equation we are working with.
So, like I said, there is a priority we need to follow, right? So in the priority that we have seen, multiplication and division have a higher priority than addition. And we have to solve them, whichever comes first, from left to right. So now, 12 divided by -3 comes first. So we have to solve this first. So 12 divided by -3 is actually -4. So now our equation looks like this. -34 plus -4 times 5. So -4 times 5 is going to be the next operation. Because, as you might guess, multiplication still has a higher priority than addition. So we solve that next.
So, -4 times 5 is equal to -20. So the equation is now simplified to -34 plus -20. So here we have a negative and a negative. When we add two negative numbers together, they stay negative, and we just add the values. So 34 plus 20 is 54. And since both numbers are negative, the answer is -54. So this is actually the final answer.
So let me quickly recap what we did. We started with -34 plus 12 divided by -3 times 5. We followed PEMDAS. We looked at the parentheses first, which just gave us -3. Then we solved the division. 12 divided by -3, which gave us -4. Then we solved the multiplication. -4 times 5, which gave us -20. And finally, we solved the addition. -34 plus -20, which gave us -54. That is the correct answer. And that is the power of following the order of operations. It gives you the correct answer every single time. So this is it for today. Thank you for watching. I will see you in the next video. Bye.